Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare A little louder, please. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances of Gosha Sri Prabhupada. Welcome to Voice of Morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we start a new chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, Verse 1. And the chapter is entitled The Punishment and Reward of Kali. And the class will be given by His Grace Pariksit Prabhu from ISKCON Harrisburg. Without further delay, we will start the class. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Devadagari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Devadagari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Chira Vanachari Yamuna Chira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Devadagari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Devadagari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra Gora Hari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Privajkacharya Stotara Satas Vishwamada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Privajkacharya Stotara Satas Vishwamada's Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Dvaita Gadadhar Srivacharya Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Bale Subhadra Marhani Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Nitai Gora Pramanande Harigo. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Swami Nityanamani. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Statmani Sri Gaura Karata Shakti Bhakti Nityanamani. Narayana Namaskritya Naronchaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashta Prayesva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhavatu Tamasdoke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Good morning, the devotees. Upon humble obeisances, glory to Srila Prabhupada. So as was announced earlier, we're starting a new chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 17, and text 1. So as usual, I will chant the text 3 times, and whoever feels inspired to do so may also chant at that time. Sutta uvacha tatra go maitunam raja anyamanam anatavat tanda hastam chavrishalam dadrishe nepalanchanam. Sutta uvacha tatra go maitunam raja anyamanam anatavat Danda hastam chavishalam, dadrishe nepalanchanam, shudavacha, tatra gomatinam raja, hanyamanam anatavat, danda hastam chavishalam, dadrishe nepalanchanam. Hare Krishna.
Sutta Vacha Tatra Gomitunam Raja Anyamanam Anathavat Dandahastam Chavrashlam Datrashe Nirpalanchanam.
Sutta vacha tatra gomitunam raja hanya mana manathavan danda hastam cha vrishalam dadrishe nripalanchanam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Sutta Vacha Tatra Gomitunam Raja Hanyamanam Anathavata Dandahastam Cha Vishalam Dadrashe Nripalanchanam.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? All right. Word for word. Sutta Uvacha, Sri Sutta Goswami said, Tatra, thereupon, Go Martinam, a cow and a bull, Raja, the king, Hanyamanam, being beaten, Anatavat, appearing to be bereft of their owner, Dandahastam, with a club in hand, Cha, also, Rishalam, lower caste, lower caste Shudra, Dadrishe, observed, Nripa, a king, Lanchanam, dressed like. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Sutta Goswami said, after reaching that place, Maharaj Pariksit observed that a lower caste Shudra dressed like a king was beating a cow and a bull with a club as if they had no owner. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The principal sign of the age of Kali is that lower caste Shudras, that is, men without Brahminical culture and spiritual initiation, will be dressed like administrators or kings, and the principal business of such non-Kshatriya rulers will be to kill the innocent animals, especially the cows and the bulls, who shall be unprotected by their masters, the bona fide Vaishyas, the mercantile community. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 44, it is said that the Vaishyas are meant to deal with, in agriculture, cow protection, and trade. In the age of Kali, the degraded Vaishyas, the mercantile men, are engaged in supplying cows to slaughterhouses. The Kshatriyas are meant to protect the citizens of the state, whereas the Vaishyas are meant to protect the cows and the bulls and utilize them to produce grains and milk. The cow is meant to deliver milk and the bull is meant to produce grains. But in the age of Kali, the Shudra class of men are in the posts of administrators, and the cows and bulls, or the mothers and the fathers, unprotected by the Vaishyas, are subjected to the slaughterhouses organized by the Shudra administrators. Oma Ginati Vedandasya, Gyana Gana Shalakaya, Chakshu Omilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakalam, Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha. Shri Rupak Sakajatam, Sagana, Raghunatam Vitam Tansajivam. Sa Advaitam Savadutam Parichana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam. Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandi Jagatpate. Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite. Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Vanchakalpataru Vescha Kripa Sunive Eva Chapatitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Dvaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Paschatya Deshatare. Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gurakse Namaha. Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Himabhya Devachavishuniraya Tasmi Mahaprema Raspadaya Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna. So the translation, if you could scroll up a little bit. The translation is, Srita Goswami said, after reaching that place, Maharaj Pariksit observed that a lower caste Shudra, dressed like a king, was beating a cow and a bull with a club as if they had no owner. So clearly, Srita Goswami is explaining to the sages in Naimisharanya, 80,000 of them, according to what Maharaj said. And he was talking about what Shukadeva Goswami had revealed or wonderfully described to Maharaj Pariksit. We are also benefiting from it. So this is about Maharaj Pariksit, and it's about the cow, Madhabhumi, taking the shape of a cow, and Dharma taking the shape of a bull. Further down this particular chapter, you would see things we put in even greater perspective as to the bull and the cow. But we may say a little bit about it if my Guru Maharaj guides me in that direction. So after reaching that place, so the first thing that comes to mind, well, after reaching that place, what place? So Maharaj Pariksit was traveling, and that place is actually the bank of the river Saraswati. So when Maharaj Pariksit reached the bank of the river Saraswati, the river, then he came upon the conversation by Dharma and Bhumi, the cow, or the bull and the cow, respectively. So he also observed that a lower caste Shudra, dressed like a king, was beating a cow and the bull with a club. So the lower caste Shudra was dressed like a king. The king is supposed to be a Kshatriya. That is the position of a king. And better yet, the king, Raja, should be a saintly person, Raja Rishi. Maharaj Pariksit was a Raja Rishi. But he's now seeing that things are going wrong in his kingdom. A Shudra is dressed like a king. That's already deceptive. But if you look at today's world, and Sri Prabhupada talks about it quite a bit in the purport, this age of Kali, lower caste Shudras, and he defines them men without Brahminical culture and spiritual initiation. Clearly, those that are taking these positions in the world, the overwhelming majority of them, if not all of them, don't have guidance spiritually. They do not. Whatever little religion that's there, that Krishna says even to abandon because it doesn't take you out of the material world, they don't even take any instructions from those religions. That's lower, apara. Srila Prabhupada describes it as apara, it's inferior, and he describes inferior religion. And Krishna makes it even more clear in the Bhagavad Gita, 1866. So Srila Prabhupada says those religions, the thing is, he's not going to take you out of the material world. It's not going to free us from anxiety. Anxiety is everywhere. Anxiety is in the earthly planets, more anxiety and suffering in the hellish planets. Anxiety is in the heavenly planets because there's envy. Envy never you can't escape it. Everywhere it's there. It's there. So even those who have so much in the heavenly planets, as far as material supplies, and also even the body's ability, they have all of that still. They fight each other. They're envious of each other. One incident after another comes. Some of it is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's kind of unfortunate, to put it mildly. So, if a Shudra, who is in real terms is supposed to serve the other classes, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, if a Shudra is taking the place of a position of a Vaishya, then things will be topsy-turvy. It'll be upside down. And this is what's going on. So the other part of it is, not only is this Shudra who doesn't deserve to be a king, dressed like a king, taking the position of a king, but he's also beating the cow and the bull. The beating is, in fact, especially let's take the bull first. Dharma has been compromised. Austerity is compromised. Cleanliness is compromised. Mercy is compromised. And sometimes I listen to some things on YouTube just to see what the people in the world now are thinking. I do not listen to, I tend to look at documentaries because those are things that have happened, especially ones that in the past, because usually people lie when things are happening in present, and then years later, somebody comes up because they think, well, it's already happened, so who's going to say anything about it? Nobody's going to get prosecuted. Then they come out and tell something more, towards the truthful part of it. So you see the trends going on. Everybody is a Shudra. Shudras are Kshatriyas, Shudras are Vaishyas, Shudras pretending to be Brahmanas. And so things are in a very, very, very bad situation. As Sri Prabhupada says, a precarious situation for everybody. Unless you come to Krishna. That's why in Bhagavad Gita 1866, Krishna says, just come to me, surrender to me. There'll be sins, but I'll save you from the sinful reactions as long as you take to me. Take to me. Krishna says, just surrender to me. Don't worry. Don't worry. It means sins may be there, but the sinful reactions we have to suffer, Krishna will relieve us from it. But Krishna will also purify us at the same time. When you surrender to Krishna, means everything that Krishna is asking us to do, we are ready to do. And not only are we ready to do them, but we're ready to do them as a matter of priority. And it's to our advantage to take it as a priority because Krishna says, the extent, the same surrender, but the extent to which you surrender, I reward accordingly. So you put Krishna first, he put you first. You start your day, immediately open your eyes, the prayer should come. Prayer to the spiritual master. To Srila Prabhupada, if you're not initiated to your spiritual master, if you are initiated, and if you're initiated to your spiritual master, then to Srila Prabhupada. Then the other prayers that you say, you have to go on and do that. You also have to put the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, as priority. Every day, it has to be priority. And if you prioritize like that, then Krishna also takes care, as he said, he will reward accordingly. So here is Dharma, whose position is being compromised, the bull. And Mother Earth is being raped in so many ways. In the case of Maharaj Prithu, after King Vena was killed by mantras, King Vena was a very demonic king. And in his time, the people suffered quite a bit. So when he was killed, and then Maharaj Prithu, who was an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, became king, he set things straight. But there was situation also with the earth at that time, because again, the Brahmanas had been stopped from making the sacrifice, the yagyas that are supposed to be made for things to flow well. King Vena had stopped it. King Vena had said nobody should worship the Supreme Personality of God and perform any yagyas, that he was the one to be focused on. You had anything to do in worship, you give to me. He was taking the place of the Lord. Now, that may sound like a story. It's a real occurrence, but it is occurring now too, because the leaders of the world are also trying to get to take the position of the Lord, and they are fighting each other, the demons, for superiority. Who can rule the earth? Nobody is ever able to rule the earth for long. Even the Raja Rishis, they leave after a while, and they leave it to another competent person. They leave the position of administration to a competent person. But when the demons take over, that's a problem. So Srila Prabhupada says, the principal sign of age of Kali is that lower caste Shudras, people that don't get any spiritual initiation and are looking forward to that, don't get any advice from those who are self-realized, they will be dressed like administrators or kings. Well, it's worse than that. They deceive people. They deceive the people, and the people now vote for them to become king. And now it's got to the point, especially in this country, that literally when it comes down to two people trying to get the presidency, people are now listening to them to see who is less of a problem. Not a good person, less of a problem. Because the demons are putting each other down by bringing all the negativity. They try to say, oh, this person is bad, therefore vote for me. The other person is, well, this person is also bad. And then the people come, well, how many bad situations are we counting now of this person and the other person? How unfortunate. So there's nothing good. Less bad is what's there now. So what is the principal business of these people? They are killing the innocent animals. They are killing cows and bulls. The Vaishyas are supposed to protect the cows and the bulls. And it's worse than that. Janamaya Swami has written now a little bit about it in the book, Krishna's Way. And the situation in the world now, he describes to some extent in the book, but there's much bigger, in a bigger picture. He wrote a small book, but really gets to the point. And in the lectures, he said that one of the situations, the third cause of death in humans is, believe it or not, prescription medicine and the side effects from the prescription medicine. You see, side effects is a nice way of putting the problems, describing the problems that these so-called medicines bring. You're sick, you go into the hospital, they say they will do this to you, do this for you, do this for you, and you're gonna get better. And how you seemingly get better, then it translates to something else, going bad. because everything is done in an artificial way. Chanamaya Swami talks about in his book that there is medicines for curing all kinds of diseases. It is there already supplied by nature. But when a demon tries, because they want to make money, to disrupt the natural way of things and come up with something that they would impose on people, and it is the Shudras, we all Kala Sudra Samabha, Major Kali, we all Shudras, bring upon people, and the poor people say, okay, well, that's what's been advertised. This is what is in the drugstore, therefore I'm going to go take that. Mm-hmm. And this time you take one medicine, take another medicine, you better go online and find out if they do not counteract each other. Because if they do, you're in trouble. And this is what's called medicine. So they are also killing humans. Prescription drugs and the side effects from it is the third killer now. The third killer in the United States. Number 3, people are dying from taking medicines that have harmful side effects. So what are the Vaishyas supposed really to do? They are meant to deal in agriculture, cow protection, and also trade. So in Bhagavad Gita 18:44, Pishigo Raksha Bhajayam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam Paricharya Atmakam Karma Shudasyapi Swabhavajam. Krishna himself is saying, farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas. Farming, cow protection. Cow protection. We do the exact opposite. We kill cows. Business, farming, cow protection. And Srila Prabhupada said that in this particular planet, that some of the demons are saying is overpopulated. It is not overpopulated, and it doesn't take much brains to do. When you're just on the highway or anywhere around, you see there's so much land that's not developed. So how can there be overpopulation where there's land that's not developed? Srila Prabhupada said there is, in fact, more land, so much land on the earth, 10 times the population can be properly fed with no problem, even now. Even now. So literally almost 75 billion people on the earth can be fed. Now, with just 7.5 billion, 10 times that, 75 billion can be fed. So no, there's no problem. It's just the way people are doing things. So the saying is that there is enough for everybody's needs, but not enough for everybody, for people's greed, those who are greedy. It's greed that's causing this, and that's a demonic activity. So farming, I suppose, cow protection and business are for the Vaishyas. And for the Kshatriyas, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, text 43, it says, Shoryam tejo riti daksham yudechapya parayanam danam ishvara bhavascha Shakya karma swabhavajam. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership. If we take just one of them, generosity, where's that? Among Kshatriyas, among the leaders? No, there's no generosity. We get taxed more and more and more. It's the opposite. We get taken away from. So this is the thing that's happening now. Now, in Krishna consciousness, that can change everything. Krishna says when there's decline in religious practice and irreligion rises, predominance of that, then at that time he comes himself. So sometimes the Lord comes himself. Sometimes the Lord will have things handled by his representative. In this case, Maharaj Pariksit, by a Raja Rishi. Or he will send someone to come, or sometimes he comes in a different incarnation. But the Lord also, when this situation arises, there are times that he comes because he also wants to enthuse the devotees. So in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text 7, it's quite popular. Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata abhitanam adharmasya tadatmanam sijamyaham. So when there is decline in religious practice and the predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself. So Krishna sent Srila Prabhupada. And more than one situation, one time I've heard again Chandamaya Swami talk about it, that Krishna, actually Srila Prabhupada was in a room with his disciples, and one time in a different mood, a pensive, deep mood, he finally spoke and said that I was with Krishna in the spiritual world. And he asked me to come to the material world. And my response to Krishna was, material world? Horrible place, horrible place. But Krishna says, will you come and you write some books and I'll protect you? Of course, it had been predicted in Bhavishya Purana and other Puranas that there would be someone who would come and spread Krishna consciousness, the name of Krishna, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in every town and village. It was also predicted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he spread the chanting of the holy name all throughout India. And he said that there will be someone that will come and will spread it the whole world over. So Srila Prabhupada's disciples have already asked the question that if the Lord Chaitanya, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was in fact propagating the chanting of the holy name, why did he not propagate it the whole world? He can propagate it in universes, much less one planet. But in a very humble mood, Srila Prabhupada said, he left that work for me to do. So Krishna asked him to come, and he came, and Lord Chaitanya predicted that he would be spreading, Srila Prabhupada would be spreading the holy name the whole world over. And that is exactly what has happened. And now that he has left, his Leela is over, he is present. He's present in his books. When he was asked what happens to ISKCON after he dies, Srila Prabhupada says, I'll never die. I'll never die. I'll be present in my books. And the books are there, 84 of them. They are being distributed in different languages around the world every single day. So people are being fortunate because when you come in contact with them, you have a life changer situation in your hand. You understand things as they are. You understand the world as it is. You also understand Krishna's kindness. The only thing left now is Krishna consciousness. Nothing else is better in this world than Krishna consciousness. So the Lord appears in his schedule. He doesn't have to, he appears in his will, but based on the end of Dwapara Yuga. 5,000 years ago, in Dwapara Yuga, then he was there. Then after he left, Kali started. So Dwapara Yuga, the age before Kali, the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu, Krishna comes one day of Brahma. So then he comes. Sometimes he comes himself, sometimes he comes, as said, as a different incarnation. Lord Kapila came, and Lord Kapila in the 3rd canto Srimad Bhagavatam said so many things about the material energy and the spiritual rule of law and the spiritual energy and the way things are. That's called Sankhya philosophy, so that we could make the intelligent choice of taking the Krishna consciousness and leaving this world the way it is and go back to Godhead, because we will not be happy here. And that's a fact. We're not going to be happy here. Those, see, Krishna says, abandon all different types of religion and surrender to him. Because when you think about him in surrender, at the time of death, thinking about him, you will go to his abode, the spiritual world, the place of no anxiety. But here in this material world, anywhere in this material world, there is some suffering, some more severe in other places than, on one place or another. But in the material world as a whole, there is suffering. Therefore, any system of religion that talks about, I'll take you to the higher planets to do this and do that, or believe so and so and so, you'll be taken to a place that's a little bit more materially set up, but the anxieties are still there. The envy is still there. The fighting will still be there. So the demigods, they have it, but the Lord is also very kind. In certain situations, when they appeal to the Lord, when they're in trouble and they go to appeal to the Lord for help, Lord Vishnu, usually they will go to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma takes them to see Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. How the Lord sets up things, his kindness plays so much into it, especially when the situation where the Bhumi was disturbed so much, as she is now still. And the Lord decided to come to this planet, and he told the demigods to take birth in the Yadu dynasty. But when he took birth in the Yadu dynasty and the Lord's Leelas were over, then they got a chance to go to the spiritual world. So the positions in the heavenly planets are mostly, that's the right word, positions, they're titles. Indra does not, that particular soul that's Indra now does not become Indra, does not stay Indra forever. There are other people that take positions. There are people that take positions from the spiritual world, Lord Brahma, as Lord Brahma. So much so that sometimes if there's nobody that's fallen, being envious of Krishna, to take the post of Lord Brahma, Krishna himself, for the period of time for that particular universe, takes the post of Lord Brahma. So these are all positions. And the Lord, when the demigods turn their attention to him, he'll set up and be part and make them part of this Leela. And it winds up being a situation where they can go back to the spiritual world, those souls. And Srila Prabhupada has come to give us the same situation, opportunity to go back to the spiritual world. But we have to do the work. We have to stay the course. And we also have to help others who are knowing somehow in their hearts that there's something wrong with religion, there's something wrong with the way things are being done in politics, and there has to be a solution somewhere, and they're hankering for it. And they get in connection with devotees or Srila Prabhupada's books, they get excited. One temple after another can tell you so many things. We've had somebody who just came here and spent 5 hours first time in the temple, wanting to talk to particularly every devotee, had so many questions. This Mataji. Obviously, they were searching, and there are more people who are searching, and we need to connect with them. So I hats off to all those who are distributing books, because every day they touch someone's heart. And the soul comes to Krishna, and they begin to understand things they are, as they are. And boy, we cannot thank Srila Prabhupada enough, because of the language that he uses, the simple ways in which he describes things that are in fact transcendental. We have this wonderful opportunity to just give the books, to just preach, to give people greater understanding of who Krishna is. They're talking about God, but they don't know that God is Krishna. That reminds me of one situation with Srila Prabhupada, my professors. Professor Judah was one of them. And this is somebody videoed it. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining to these professors that, or asking them, you do not know who God is. You say Jesus, but Jesus' Father is God. You do not know who God is. And I am presenting God to you. So why are you not accepting? I'm presenting God to you. Why are you not accepting? And this thing is video, so you can see their faces in the reaction to it. Everybody is quiet, and everybody, nobody's smiling, and you don't know what to say. Until Papa repeated it. You do not know God, and I'm presenting God to you. So why are you not accepting? And these are professors that teach students. They teach students. But they don't know who God is. And God is presented, but they're having problems because it's been given to them that God, well, maybe he's old, maybe there's so many kinds of assumptions made in religion about who God is. They say he's a creator. Of course he's a creator. But we know in detail even how the creation comes by the Lord's expansions of expansions of expansions. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. And he's extremely, extremely kind. If we stay the course here, sometimes we realize how merciful the Lord is, and we'll show that, and we'll teach others. So we need to just discuss more and more and more about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Machita Makata Prana, Vadayantas Parasparam, Katayantas Chamanityam, Tushanticha Romanticha. The Rajas, the king, the Raja Rishis, and also the saints, they know that discussions of the Lord give so much wonderful, wonderful joy in just hearing about it. So they discuss the Lord, they preach to each other, and they have all kinds of discussion and debates and things, and they open up more understanding of the Lord by the Lord's mercy. Now remember, Paramatma is in the heart of all of them. And therefore, when the souls are so enlivened by the discussions of Krishna, then this goes on and on and on and on. And speaking about it, I'll just say one more thing about one of the demons that Krishna killed. The other day we were talking about it. His name is Dhenukasura. And he was in the form of a donkey, but a huge, powerful donkey. And he was in the Talavan forest. And there were so many wonderful sweet fruits, nice aroma. And the wind blows and the aroma comes, but then Dhenukasura and his other demon friends were in that Talavan forest. And if you go there, they'll kill you. Nobody's allowed. The cowherd boys told Krishna, this is very nice, let us go there. But they also knew that Dhenukasura was there. Krishna, Balaram, and the cowherd boys went first to the border of the Talavan forest. They stopped, the cowherd boys stopped. And Krishna stopped with them. Cowherd boys were a little fearful. Balaram went in by himself and he started shaking trees to get the fruits down, and some of the fruits fell down. And Dhenukasura was taking a nap, and that noise from shaking of the trees woke him up and said, who is it that has come to my forest here? He saw Balaram and started fighting Balaram. Balaram tossed him, curled him, hit the ground, but Dhenukasura is also very strong. So Krishna got in, and when Dhenukasura was down, some of the cowherd boys also took turns to hit him with clubs, and even some of the balls they were playing with, they hit him with it. But Balaram just whisked him around. It's described in Garga Samhita. Threw him for a good 8 miles. But even though when Dhenukasura struck the ground and his head was badly wounded and he fell unconscious, he got up. And this time was filled with a lot of anger. And then he manifested 4 horns. And then the Gopa started running away because now he became very, very scary. But still, Dhenukasura was after them, chasing them. And so a few of them tried to hit him, but of course it didn't get anywhere. It's described who hit him with what and so on in Garga Samhita. Finally, Krishna got in. And Krishna started fighting the demon. Krishna whirled the demon and threw him onto Govardhan Hill. It was a distance to get to Govardhan Hill. He got injured, Denikasura, but he got up and picked up Govardhan Hill and threw Govardhan Hill at Krishna, intending to hurt Krishna. So Krishna caught Govardhan Hill and threw it back at Denikasura with the intention of hurting him. Denikasura caught Govardhan Hill and threw it back at Krishna. And so Krishna caught Govardhan Hill again, and this time threw it away from Denikasura back to the same location that Govardhan Hill was before. So Govardhan now was out of this. Denikasura gets up and he comes up to Krishna and he grabs him with Krishna's horns and takes him up the sky, hundreds of miles up the sky. And they fought and they fought and they fought. And Krishna finally threw him that distance all the way down to the forest, to his Talavan forest, so-called his Talavan forest. He fell, broke many bones in his body, but he was still very angry and wanted to continue fighting. So Balaram whirled him around and hit him down. He got more injured, and then Balaram punched him. And this is how Denikasura left the body. And when Denikasura left the body, he came, his soul came out, and then there was a nice chariot, 8 miles long. It had 100,000 denizens from or residents of the spiritual world on the chariot. Very, very beautifully decorated, pulled by wonderfully decorated horses. The chariot came, the nice soul of Denikasura circumambulated Krishna and got on that particular chariot, and the chariot took him where? To the spiritual world, specifically Golok Vrindavan. Denikasura went back to Golok Vrindavan. This is the mercy of the Lord. Now, the wonderful thing about, and I would just say, end pretty soon. Denikasura looked very, very nice when he was going. He's a dark form. He was wearing yellow garments and decorated the floors, flower garlands, and so on. He got on the chariot and went back. So that was the situation in Denikasura. And the wonderful thing, Gaga Samhita, is they'll ask to say a little bit about the previous life. Now, Denikasura's situation was very similar to Manigriva and Nalakubara, because they were in the heavenly planets sporting with the heavenly damsels there. So he was also a nail-bodied person this is Denikasura, in the previous life, in the heavenly planets. And he was playing around with 10,000 women in the forest. I mean, in the water. And they were dancing and they were, singing, and they just like the women had ankle bells and making some noise. And that was a disturbance. And so there was a sage that was meditating not so far, and you're gonna have to help me. I have a little moment, senior citizen moment. So who is that sage that, so many things that he did, that benefited Kunti, that he could call him Durvasa Muni. Thank you. So Durvasa Muni was I can remember the D, but the rest of the thing was coming. Durvasa Muni was actually meditating not too far away from this commotion, this noise that they were doing. So he came back, he came up to them and stopped them and saying that so much disturbance you're doing, and therefore he cursed, and then considered to become an ass because there's so much noise, you're making such foolish things, and asses are foolish things, so you become a donkey. And of course, he begged, and when he begged, then the Vasmuni told him, okay, you will become a donkey. Curse cannot be removed, but you will be, in fact, taken, the situation will be ended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Balaram. And so that's just how he became a donkey. And of course, Krishna, the pastime, we talked a little bit about that. So these are all wonderful things that happen in Krishna consciousness. And we can go on and on and on and on, but I think we'll have to stop here. Just have the faith that we've been surrendered to Krishna, then the situation that we're in, even though it's difficult, we shouldn't think that Krishna won't be merciful to us. He will be. Srila Prabhupada already showed so much mercy, and we have a chance to go back home to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class and the pastimes. It's always nice to hear, pastimes, and we sit and imagine 8 miles long chariot and go over that hill, being thrown up in the sky 100 miles. It's like, just driving from here to Kalal Pike is about 2 miles. Like 8 miles is like Krishna Chaitanya. So beyond our understanding and conception. So thank you so much for sharing. And also wonderful lecture, about how Srila Prabhupada is saying that we should take shelter of the holy name, take shelter of the Lord, because it's not a very nice place that we live in. So thank you so much for that. Would like to ask devotees if any questions, any comments, any takeaways, clarification. Please do raise your hand, or you can just jump right in and share your thoughts. Would like to hear from everyone. You can just jump right in if anyone would like to say something.
In the meantime, there's
one thing that I would like to share that you mentioned, greed, there's enough for everybody's need, but not enough for everybody's greed. And I was really meditating. Yesterday, I heard a very nice short clip by, I'm trying to think the name of the sannyasi in UK. He's got a very long name. Swayam Keshava Swami.
Yes. Swayam Keshava Bhagavan.
Yes. And he had a minute and a half clip, and he was really stressing the point about stress and greed, in that short clip. And he was saying the reason people are so much under stress is because there's so much greed. And then he was sharing that because we are living, we're trying to be like the other person, a better job, a better house, more money, better husband, better wife. Everything is material. So what he was sharing is because we are not living within our quota, we are not doing our duty, as Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. We're trying to be like our friends, our relatives, our neighbors, our whatever. So that is adding stress to us, and that is the greed. So he was sharing how much stress and greed are so much interrelated, because everybody is busy running around trying to become who they don't need to become. Everybody is trying to, generally speaking, trying to have a big bank balance because someone else has it, $1 million house because someone else has it, own a business because someone else has it. Like, we are living off what someone else had, and that adds so much stress, which is the greed. So he was saying that we should just go back to Bhagavad Gita and just live within our quota and be happy and content. So I was just, really appreciating that point that he was sharing. And then you were mentioning about greed, how so important that is,
Yeah, it is very, very, very. That was actually the statement about there's enough in the world for everybody's need, but not enough for everybody's greed. That was Mahatma Gandhi that actually made that statement. So, yeah, and we got to be careful. We have to be careful. So many things happening in this world. If we play into it, we have to be very careful what Maya does, because it comes in like, small things, and we don't take it so seriously. And the Maya says, yep. And that is the opening. And the next thing he knows, we are onto something else that's bigger before we find out we are in trouble. So we have to be associating. Yeah, you're going to say something?
No, I said absolutely.
Yeah, we have to be associating, and in the association, warn each other. Warn each other. The simple things that people know. That's why the other day I talked about, chocolate, because, people are now taking it lightly, but it would be a problem for some. And then people that I know now that actually been taking chocolate for a while, they're struggling with their sadhana, and I know that for a fact. So you may not think there's a correlation, but there is. And so people have to be more careful. So I'm going to throw in one more thing, and that's again about the Kasura. So his previous life, his name was Sahasika. And he is, in fact, the son of Bali Maharaj. He was very powerful himself. And so he was having pastimes in the Gangamandana mountain with these 10,000 women. So this is how it all started. And Durvas Muni was meditating on Krishna in a nearby cave, and he got disturbed by the women and all the commotion going on, the fun they said they were having, and that's why he cursed Sahasika to become Renukasura. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you for adding that to it. Anyone else? I know we passed the 9 o'clock hour. Just want to make sure that I'm not missing anybody here. Anyone has a question or a comment or reflection, please do raise your hand. You can just jump right in. And I'm going down the list here. And if there isn't anyone, we thank you all for joining us, and thank you for being part of this first chapter of the 17th, first verse of the 17th chapter. We're going to go deeper and deeper into the punishment and reward of Kali, so that that will help us to become more cautious in our Krishna consciousness and be more peaceful, is the word, to be more peaceful in our spiritual life. Vancha Karptibhyascha, Kripasindu Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Have a wonderful day. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.